Okay. Good evening. It's 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. This is the City of Franklin Common Council meeting. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Alderman Pecorelli excused. Alderwoman Eichmann.
Here.
Alderman Hassan.
Here.
Alderwoman Day.
Here.
Alderman Salus.
Here.
Alderman Craig.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next up, citizen comment period under B1. Any citizen wishing to come speak on anything, you've got 3 minutes. I normally read the rules of decorum. It's a light crowd tonight, light agenda. We want to move this along, so I'm going to open it right now. I'll be the timekeeper. Name and address for the record, and we'll open it now.
Good evening. Linda Mathwake, 7321 Brunn Drive. First, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our Public Works Department for their dedication in the last week. They had a swift response in helping residents with debris removal that was created by damaging flood waters. Their efforts are greatly appreciated and did not go unnoticed. Second, I would like to publicly thank Alderman Salus for hosting a neighborhood meeting on Wednesday, August 13th. The meeting brought approximately 130 residents together from District 5, Ward 19, as well as neighbors from District 2, Ward 7, and District 6, Ward 20. Many attendees expressed gratitude for being included, as this was their first opportunity to learn about the proposed plans for the Orchard View property. Based on extensive feedback, it is clear that while there is a broad support for improving the property, there is considerable opposition against the construction of an additional apartment complex. The consensus among residents favors commercial development over further residential housing. That said, I'm respectfully requesting that either the city or the developer host an open house style event to allow for meaningful dialogue and collaboration with the community. Residents have a simple yet important request. They want to be heard. Engagement with the community can offer valuable insights that have been absent from the planning process so far. Since public input was not initially sought, it is only reasonable and necessary to now give residents an opportunity to share their vision. Listening to the voices of your constituents is essential to ensure that this development reflects and respects the character and the needs of the surrounding neighborhoods. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Going once, seeing no one. Citizen comment period closed. I will address that one citizen. Ms. Mathwig, so you know, and I know you know the answer to this, there's been at least 2, maybe 3 public meetings regarding the POS general development that was held at the library. I was not at that meeting on the 13th. I was at the school board meeting, which was a prior commitment for a larger charged item, which will be 3 coming up in the Plan Commission meeting on Thursday. It is planned, and I did discuss this with the Alderman Salus, that there is going to be another meeting, which will be at the library. It'll be shortly after the Labor Day holiday break, where the developer and another representative from the finance area will be talking about the development as a whole. I have gotten feedback, because I've attended 2, if there were 3, I attended the 3rd, but I know 2 for sure, with former Alderman Barber, and listened carefully to former mayor that talked, the county supervisor that was there, and listened and rebutted to a number of concerns. So when you say somebody that people aren't being heard, that is terribly wrong. The developer will talk about the different renderings after he received feedback from residents, meeting with residents, and he will give an updated presentation with photos, with, you name it, he's going to be doing it, he's going to be done right, and that way there's not going to be any gray area, we don't know, of course they know. I could call the former mayor right now, and he's been involved in at least 3 of these discussions formally about how things are going to move forward. And to the question about what, of course we want the commercial retail. Absolutely we do. That's the biggest point. But as you see, or if you don't see, the redevelopments that are going around in communities around us and the new developments, whether they're a strip mall style, they all have a residential component. Every single one of them. So we're no different. So to your point, and when that comes out, and I know you went door to door, which is great to get people there. And when we put it out there again, when I get the date from the developer, and we'll advise council, we'll have at least a 2-week notice, maybe a little longer, but when the meeting is. And then we'll do the exact same thing, only it's going to be run with, we'll have all the bells and whistles and everything covered there. We'll have a great breakdown on finances. We'll have everything there for all the neighbors, as well as, the impactfulness to the neighborhood. I heard scuttle about a traffic study that an elected official stated, and not the alderman, that there's a traffic study that says something crazy, that there shouldn't be a development there. All that stuff, all that noise is going to be cleared up with facts. So we're going to be bringing facts, and that's going to be a great meeting. So I really look forward to that. So with that said, we'll go to item B2, a proclamation in recognition of the Franklin Health Department. And nope, we can talk later or tomorrow. I'll ask Alderwoman Day to join me. Well, more the merrier. Takes the pressure off me for trying to read without my spectacles.
Arbitrage.
So everybody gonna come in here and read this, and I'll present it to you. And I definitely want to recognize Alderwoman Day and her efforts and her continued efforts in the health department in the health area. So this is a City of Franklin proclamation, a proclamation in recognition of the Franklin Health Department. It's kind of wordy. Whereas the Franklin Health Department provides critical services and programs to the Franklin community supporting health, safety, and quality of life of the Franklin residents. And whereas the health department is dedicated to the Franklin community, responding to emergent needs and acting as the chief health strategist, pulling together residents and partners to advance health. And whereas the local needs continue to grow. And whereas from their work leading Coalition Franklin, a nationally recognized and awarded substance abuse misuse coalition, to senior programming to help our residents safely age in place, to improving health and safety of our residents of all ages through screenings, clinics, community events, ensuring our restaurants and hotels are safe, assisting with emergency preparedness and response to natural and man-made disasters, and helping to prevent chronic and communicable diseases. The Franklin Health Department is truly a leader in the county and the state. And whereas the Wisconsin Department of Health Services has recognized these efforts and awarded the Franklin Health Department Level 3 designation, huge, highest possible designation in the state of Wisconsin. That's a monster. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that I, John R. Nelson, Mayor of the City of Franklin, Wisconsin, on behalf of all the citizens of Franklin and the staff of city government, and to all of those public officials and staff, present this proclamation to the members of the Franklin Health Department, thanking them for their ongoing service, dated this day, 2025. Thank you very much.
We're definitely proud of the accomplishment. We couldn't have gotten here without the path that was laid before us. So we gave thanks to Bill Wooker, our former health officer, as well as Courtney Day, but all of the staff that work on this to make sure that Franklin
top that?
I do not. No, just congratulations, all of you. You do so much for the community above and beyond. I know probably more than everybody else in the room, but one of the things I heard at a conference once, they said the best public health departments are the ones that you may not know exist, because everything they're doing behind the scenes is what's keeping you healthy and safe. So if you don't know all of the things or some of the stuff you heard tonight was new to you, that's because they do such a good job at keeping it healthy.
Well done. Thank you again. C, approval of the regular common council meeting minutes of August 5th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
First and a second, any further discussion? See none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. There are no hearings. Under D, there is nothing under E as an organizational, and there are no letters under F as in Frank. G1, moving forward. So we did the presentation. Is there, Lauren, do you want to come up and say anything more about that? And
If you were, since we have so much.
Sure. Excellent. Come right up to the front. We'll make sure the microphones are working and, oh yeah. Yep, the adult table you get to. Sir, if you would mind just saying your name and your business address for the record?
Of course. My name is Matthew Colley. I am the Southeast Region Director for the Wisconsin Department of Health Services based out of Milwaukee.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you.
And that's pretty much what I was going to say, is that I'm joined here by Matthew, who's the Southeast Region Director, and he was on the panel of individuals who came from the state to do our assessment for the 140 review. We had Kelly join us, and our Board of Health Chair, Henry, who couldn't be here today because of a prior commitment. But we're excited to hear what Matthew has to recap of the experience and talk about all the work that the department and the Board of Health have been doing in Franklin.
So thank you very much, Mayor Nelson and older people. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk about the excellent accomplishment of the Franklin Health Department. As I stated a minute ago, my name is Matthew Colley, and in addition to being the Southeast Region Director, I am also the DHS 140 Program Supervisor, which means that I lead the program that goes out and checks all 84 health departments statewide to ensure that they meet all requirements under Wisconsin statute as well as Wisconsin rule, which is where the program gets its name on a DHS 140. So as the mayor's proclamation stated, and as Lauren had alluded to, the health department achieved a level 3 certification, which is the highest level in statute and rule. Wisconsin is unique amongst states in the country in that we are the only one that has multiple levels of health department. All health departments in the state are required to meet level 1 standards, and health departments can choose to go to the higher stringent standards of level 2 and level 3. And in review earlier this year, the Franklin Health Department achieved that highest level 3 standard. That requires an extensive process, which involves analyzing and reviewing documentation, as well as a site visit. And in that site visit, our team came down, confirmed the excellent work that the health department does, and identified some strengths, as well as some opportunities that we shared with Lauren and her team. Since the proclamation stated all of the wonderful things about the health department already and its achievement, I will wrap up by saying that my favorite part of this job is this next step, which is to say that as a representative of the state, the Department of Health Services, and the Division of Public Health, I express the appreciation for the leadership provided by Lauren and the work provided by the staff for all that they do for the community of Franklin. And therefore, pull this out here. It is my honor and privilege to present this level 3 certificate to the Franklin Health Department in honor of the public health work that they do for the city of Franklin. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Well,
Thank you very much.
when you showed me up, so now we're gonna have to get frame the proclamation. Fine. Questions while you're still here? Questions, comments from?
Congratulations. We appreciate all your hard work from
Thank you.
Lauren and the
Okay.
department.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
And I know there's a motion here, Alderwoman Day. Would you like to make that motion?
Sure. Motion is to place on file the certificate designating the Franklin Health Department as a level 3 health department.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
G2, 2024 annual review provided by city assessors, forward appraisal. Come on up, please. Just take 2 seats right here. The mics are on, working. And if you would please just state your name and business address for the record.
Scott Elvey, P.O. Box 13434, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Nicole Tesh, P.O. Box 13434, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. And so I know we're going to be getting some questions, but there was one of the things I guess I'll start with is, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about the background of what you inherited and the pressure that you were under as a firm to get the city to where it had to be. You didn't have a lot of time, is my point. And I thought you did an exceptional job. You came out and you did my property when you did that as well. And it was painless and it was wonderful. And I encourage those that haven't had it done yet, they get it done and kind of go with that. But I just want to, so I'm also going to ask is, what are some of the challenges that you had coming in briefly and then they're overcame and how we're not going to have them this year?
So some of the challenges is one of the biggest hurdles, I think, was the Kelly.
Go ahead.
Well, restarts are a real problem in our line of work too.
And
So
we'll be here too.
Anyway, so a big problem is that a hurdle, I guess, is that we started in February to assess as of January, the month prior. So we started in February, and then we got data from the prior assessor in sometime July 30th, something like that, maybe. So it was the end of July at that. And so prior to that, we were just working on a skeleton copy of assessed values, and that's really it. And then whatever property record cards that we could kind of scrounge from the websites, essentially. So in that time frame, that 6-ish months, we still had to field permits, which we did with the help of the inspections department, who were invaluable, giving us reports that we needed. And then getting us set up to be self-sufficient, and doing our sale reviews that were all that were the sales of 2023 calendar year, so that we could start to build models in advance of getting all of the data, just so that we kind of had that head start. And the other thing was the contact from property owners. We had, from the jump, calls about what do I want to say, the overassessment stuff from the year prior.
Yeah, I would say there were a lot of ownership issues as well that were lagged from behind. There was a pretty long list of property owners that had contacted during the interim time where there wasn't an assessor acting. So that was all kind of come on all at the same time as well. So a lot of stuff that just compounded because of the timing of everything.
So then, discounting the timing now, when we get the property records from the prior assessor, the commercial data was incomplete. We had to pretty much start those from scratch. So we went to every single one of those. The condo information was almost no sketches, I think, for condos, essentially. It was just kind of some very skeleton data in there. So we had to do those pretty much 2,800 some odd, I think, condos, which is like 20% of the city is condos, by the way. So we had to do that a lot of the stuff from the jump also. So just some of that kind of data, maybe inaccuracy or inconsistency.
And missing, right.
And missing, right. So that was one of the big hurdles once we did get the data. So we had the cleanup, we had the pre-work prior to getting that. Once we got to it, then it was just a matter of really the hitting the ground running. And that's what we tried to do all that pre-work for. So we could finish by November so that we could get taxes out by December, because statutes are statutes. So such is life sometimes. But I think we kind of got through a lot of them just by communicating, by talking. Residents that called and said, hey, I don't like our 2023 values. We had to say, not us, but we'll make 2024 right. Or we would go to their property, and if there's a data error, we corrected it. And then in some cases, we were able to go back to 2023 and make a correction of error.
You're very aware of those by now.
Yes, I'm sure you, right.
Because we really did, anytime somebody called and asked to review the property, we would walk through it with them. If there was a palpable error, an actual physical error to that record, we corrected it and then made sure that we made it right for the prior year, because we have the ability to do that and present it to you. So that's why you've seen a lot of them this year. We don't expect that to continue, but for this year at least, that was important that we get it fixed for people.
And then obviously we're still pushing at getting as many, like you said, we don't expect as many, but pushing as much data correction, data consistency, and data completion as we can find. We went through half a condo association this morning. We're going through the other half tomorrow, just door to door knocking.
So you're at Tuckaway Shores today.
Correct, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
We have a resident in our audience that came specifically to hear this because they were in Tuckaway Shores.
Okay, great. All right,
Yeah,
great. So it's, to your point, the walkthroughs that we do are generally painless. We try to say it's about 5 to 10 minutes, and we don't do inspections. We don't do code. That's not us. We're not trained in that. So we just kind of poke our heads into rooms that we need to see the condition of, and then we're through. So I kind of call it the nickel tour, and then we're in and out on the way. So that's what we're trying to do to get these records right. We see condition, we see quality of construction, we see room counts, plumbing fixture counts, just some examples, and then finished basement. And then we check measurements. So if we're there and an area of a house doesn't look like it doesn't match up with the sketch, we'll measure it, or we'll measure the whole house if we need to. But that's not the interior part of it necessarily. That's an outside, so we don't usually need the property owner there at that point. But anyway, so that's kind of what we do when we go through properties. And that's what we're doing to clean up some of this data, again, inconsistency.
Yeah, we have a lot of property owners that we've talked to when we walk through that they've never seen an assessor. Some of them are newer homes, and that's kind of concerning to us because there should have been somebody there at the time that house was built. We had records turned over to us that were missing sketches and a photo for a brand new house. That should never happen. So there's a lot of things that we're looking through and trying to figure out where is that data missing? How can we gather it best? Tuckaway Shores is just one example of that. We noticed a lot of stuff that wasn't current. So properties that sell in there, when the record doesn't match what it sold, and we can see that stuff on MLS, we're going, okay, why is this all missed? Why is this not matching our record? We got a lot of inconsistencies. So that's why we can look at it and say, okay, let's try and get through all these properties, continue to do that throughout the city where we see it needs it the most, and get that updated.
And the Tuckaway Shores, just a specific example, because that's where we are today, tomorrow. We sent out letters a month ago saying, hey, we're going to be here on this date for these and on this date for those. If you can make it, cool. If you can be there, cool. If you want to reschedule for a different time, let us know and we can do it a week. We did one 2 weeks ago. We've got 2 more scheduled for a couple weeks from now because they weren't available this week. So we try to be flexible and work around people's time. And again, this is just kind of a microcosm of how we do this process. So yeah, that's kind of the data aspect of it.
Alderman Icahn?
Thank you, Mayor. As we had spoke or through email, which I appreciated, thank you. resident is also able to submit pictures, correct, if they can't meet with you?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
The number one question out there too, and the feedback that I'm getting from my constituents, as I'm the alderwoman of that district, is legally, do they have to let you in?
Nope, and that is written right on the back of their letter. Yep, we make that very clear, that it's beneficial generally
Right.
for a fair assessment process, but it's not a requirement. So all we can do is ask.
What percentage would you say out of Tuckaway Shores have you been able to access or will be accessing?
I'd say early this morning it felt like 50%. As we kind of got through the day, maybe more like 25, yeah, something thereabouts. And then that's just from the today. Tomorrow is going to be more of them, but if we're talking ratios, probably similar, I would expect.
Is that including both HOAs, because there's two separate property owners in there?
It's just Tuckaway Shores on the west side of 76th. I don't know if that's
You're,
what you mean.
yeah, I think you're on Tuckaway and Tuckaway 2, which is adjacent to the golf course. I'm talking, this is
Other
the
side.
pond across 76.
Right,
Yeah.
there's two different property owners, two different HOAs in that. You can connect with me later.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair
I mean,
enough,
we
yeah.
sent it to all of them. Yeah,
yeah.
we sent it to all of them. Yep, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
So Alderman Sluse.
Thank you for being here. We met before. I have a few questions. I did go through the report. It's complex, but I'm getting there. I'll start with the first question. You know, we have a few TIF districts in the city here. Like with the TIF districts, are they included in the total? Like, for example, it says that total assets in the city like $6.2 billion. Is the TIF districts part of this figure?
Yes, they are. Yep, that is included in our total assessed value.
Okay.
Yep.
Because the reason this is important then, because if our percentage out of the county goes higher due to the TIF, then basically we are covering all the taxes, all the expenses toward the other like the county and the MMSD and all of these things. That will fall on the shoulders of the current taxpayers because our percentage will be slightly higher because the TIF we do not get that benefit from the TIF as a city, like to our budget.
That's a Danielle question.
When we calculate taxes, and I can show you my spreadsheet later on, but we take out the TIF value when we're calculating the taxes for the city of Franklin.
But when it's submitted to the county and the state, it's included.
No.
Only for assessment purposes. So when we have to report our total assessed value within the municipality, that's a requirement. That's probably separate from what Danielle would be submitting for anything that calculates taxes.
To be clear, we don't do any tax things at all.
Yeah.
We are
No,
only assessed value.
I get it. I'm trying to figure out the number that gets submitted to the county. Does it include the TIF as part of it?
On our report, yes,
To the state.
to the state.
We submit
to
to the state.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Sure.
The second question I have, like I seen on page number 8, like basically it says the ratio on the residential 94.49 and on the commercial part of it 45.28. So the commercial percentage is a little bit out of whack. That's not none of my concern. But as a mix overall, it's 80.69. Are we like the homeowners, are they somehow aiding because the percentage when you talk residential, the percentage is right on the dot. But the percentages on the commercial is kind of, it's not very much online. So by the time you're mixing them together, are we somehow indirectly aiding the commercial sector out of the residential?
I understand your point. So on the page that you referenced, that is just the sales study from 1 year. It's a snapshot. So we have, if you see on there, there's, I think, very good. 5 sales for the commercial that come up with that number, and
Vacant, it's 11 improved, so 16 total.
11 sales or 16 total, but 11 improved is a really, really small snapshot of sales. And we kind of see that it can swing wildly from year to year based on what has sold. So while it might state that when the Department of Revenue does their calculations to figure out what they believe the full value of commercial is going to be for the city, it may not be reflective of that percentage because they're going to look at sales throughout the area outside of our city as well. And that is going to be reported on the major class comparison report. We have a copy of last year's one in this report, but that major class comparison is going to be what is the official level of assessment for commercial. So that will be different. It's not going to be 45%, I can assure you.
So that doesn't mean that the value of the commercial is going to double as a sudden because it's a 45%?
No.
And that's also just to highlight immediately beneath that, it's important to note that the sale data in this study, the numbers you're referencing, compares the 2023 sale price with the 2023 assessed values, not the 2024 values that we created as part of the revaluation.
Yeah.
So that is what it would have been if we hadn't done the revaluation, if it had just been a maintenance year for 2024, but we did a revaluation. So that's just kind of a what if.
This is also probably a good time to point out, as Scott mentioned, this is a packet summarizing the work that was done in the 2024 reval. We will do a similar packet, much smaller, that just summarizes basically the first 14 pages of this report for 2025 assessment because that's complete now. So we will have a similar summary of data from the 2025 assessment year, and that's going to give you your current level of assessment for residential, for commercial, and then the sales study that used 2024 sales. So
It'll be sometime in fall.
yeah.
The next question is, I seen it through the report, something says DOR value, like, the department, how they came, like who came up with this DOR value? Is it your company or the state?
It's the state. So that's back to the same report. That was probably the major class comparison report. And what they do is they take what they anticipate or expect full value to be. And they look at sales just like we do every year. We submit that data to them. And each year they take that full value, they apply a percentage to it based on sales, and then they come up with a new full value. So where you see it saying DOR value, that's going to be their estimate of full value. How they come up with that number, not entirely sure. I mean, I have the general concept, but somebody at the Department of Revenue would be better equipped to answer that, their calculations specifically.
So it's not like they came up with the number, it's not yours. So what about the
Right.
ratios written on the property state tax?
Yep. That takes our assessed value compared to the full value.
Percent value.
Yep, exactly.
And just the last question, then I'll quit. There is I seen through your report that sales usable and sales not usable. Like, is there a lot of sales that you guys do not use in your assessment? And what kind of percentage and why?
Yeah, I don't know a percentage offhand specifically. We could certainly find one, but there are some reasons that we don't use a sale. Some of them might be family sales from mom to son or something like that, right? We don't look at that as a market sale because it's not on the market. It's not open arm's length transaction type. Commercially, there are 1031 exchanges where there are kind of financial tax incentives to make a sale for potentially over what market value might be. Sale leasebacks are another commercial example where a property owner occupier will sell it to a third-party entity and then give them rent but remain on the property. That's not considered a good sale either. So these are sales that we vet and weed out. So we're only looking at the open market arm's length transaction sales between two unrelated entities. And those are the good sales that we use then.
see.
Yep.
Yeah,
And-
or usable.
Another one that's pretty common is transferring to a trust. So it's the same person, they just put it into a trust. Those aren't market sales. They're transactions that come through as sales, but they're oftentimes, by the time we've downloaded them from the state, they're automatically rejected because they don't represent market value. So
I see.
And that's related entities generally too.
I see. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Alderwoman Day.
Thank you. My questions are more general in nature and based on the summary report that we have. And these are just going back to some of the questions I got at the time when the assessment was coming out to residents in my area. So in the first one, in your overview, and you talk about the neighborhood delineations were streamlined. Can you just explain kind of what it looked like when there were 167 and how you got down to 15 and what that process looks like and how that's beneficial, like, for the community as a whole?
So when you say what it looks like, we can actually give an example of that. If you wanted to send me an email, we asked the GIS coordinators to give us a map of the neighborhood boundaries, and they shaded in a number of colors, and there were so many that we couldn't tell the difference between some shades. There were like, what, 167 you said? I'll trust you there. It was a lot. And we're talking like it might be 5 properties within a given neighborhood. And at the end of the day, we do mass appraisal. So it's when you're doing comparisons and you're trying to do land modeling and you're only comparing against 5 properties, and it's probably a good shot that none of those have sold in that year, it's tough, right? So we had to kind of expand the footprint, the bounds that we're looking at. So we do so by trying to find areas of like amenities, areas of like, what am I trying to say?
Well, features and amenities. We try to look at it, and honestly, our process, as you asked, is driving around. So we were new to Franklin. We spent a lot of time driving all over, up and down and left and right to get familiar with the city, and looking at those sales as soon as we got them. So like that interim period where we didn't have a database to work with, we just dug through sales like crazy, looking at the homes, driving by them, getting a feel for the areas. And the best thing for us to do to try and delineate is think like a buyer. So if I was going to come buy a home and I was moving to Franklin, what area would I consider similar to this area? Would I also be looking to buy here, and kind of group them that way?
Schools are a one that we
school
looked at.
district.
Utilities are some things
Yep.
that we looked at. Just some of those resources that we have available, where it's like, if you make this versus that, is your decision similar?
So 167, quote, neighborhoods in a city of 36,000 is probably not the norm that you're used to.
No.
No, I've never seen that.
In Green Bay, just as an example, Green Bay has 100,000 people, and we have 25 neighborhoods, commercially and residentially.
Total, yeah.
Total. So
It was a lot. I've never seen it
167
like that.
Kind
Yeah.
of jaw dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was, one question that came was, well, who did you compare my house against, kind of thing. So that explains that piece of it. The second question I have was about land values. So I know a lot of people, especially in the city of Franklin, have larger lots. And so some of the people that saw some of the bigger swings that happened, including myself, were people that had larger plots of land that you had alluded to in previous meetings. The land piece was not technically being done
Right.
as correct as it could have been. So do you think moving forward that now that you've made sort of the correction moving forward, that it was probably not going to swing as wildly in the future as it did last year for those homeowners that have the, 1, 2, 5, 10 acres of land kind of thing?
That's a really good summary of exactly what we'd expect. We would expect now that we're on a consistent model, which is, and by the way, if we've talked about our tiered model, it works essentially as the earlier or sooner part of your lot is more valuable than the back 10 acres, that kind of stuff. So it does taper off. Now that we've kind of got that consistent taper, even if the taper changes a little bit or the numbers change a little bit, it's not going to swing by anywhere near that. No.
And then the market appreciation. I mean, unless people start paying double for their lots, what we have on it now, you shouldn't see that kind of increase again. Because anytime a reval, if we were to do another reval, that process would look at that land value again, the same way we did the first time around, and maybe they're paying a little bit more for those lots. You're going to see a small increase on the land again, as opposed to nothing at all. So.
And I think I heard you already say, but I just wanted to ask it, more directly and get a direct answer. This year, you're considering a maintenance year, correct? Not another.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
And then the last question I have, and it's just a request. So the full report, as Alderman Sluice alluded to, is long and technical. And I don't anticipate that, a lot of people are going to read it cover to cover, but I feel like for transparency purposes, if we could have that on the assessment webpage, just in case people wanted to look through it, that it's there for them to actually see and kind of look through all of it. So whatever can be put out there, this summary is great, but I would really like to see the full report
Sure.
out there for the public to be able to access it.
Yeah, and part of the reason for the length of it is there was a lot to include. This isn't what we would normally do each year. Like a maintenance year is a summary of the basic reports that we have each year, changes, sales, that kind of summary. But this needed to include all of the work that was done for the revale, so that people were aware of what happened and what was all done.
And then, yeah, we can talk about getting it online.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, that's it.
Alderman Craig.
Just one real quick. You are partners with us. We are not just throw it to you and, hey, whatever you come up with is, great and ducky and whatever. But what actions can we take as a council and as a city to support you to provide true and accurate assessment to the citizens of the city?
Okay, hot take real quick. Let us through your houses, because lead by example kind of thing is real. If you knew the process, kind of talked about that, right? If you knew the process, then you could say, hey man, it takes 5 minutes. Like, it's not just I'm trying to sell you something, it takes 5 minutes. It's like I did it and it takes 5 minutes. That goes a long way.
And encouraging
confidence.
people who call you to say it's okay to call us. It's okay to have us walk through. We're not judgy. We're just trying to get accurate records and understand that that's what the process is. And that's how it ends up being fair for everyone, because if we don't get into many homes, we don't have the right information. I can't tell you how many times I've had property owners say, well, my neighbor did this and this and this. Well, it's not fair to everyone else if that assessment is artificially low because we don't have the right information. So the more you can encourage people to not be afraid to let us walk through their homes, as Scott said, lead by example and reach out. We're happy to walk through.
That said, the fact that you're even asking that, I appreciate. Like, I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you've come in before us, was this the third or fourth time? And, there has been a great deal of transparency. You've been very open to everyone's questions as far as citizens, council members, the mayor, everyone from the administration. So I want to have that continue. And like I said, that if there, what we can do to support that and give you tools that are necessary to provide true and accurate reporting, I think that is something that I don't know anyone that would reject that and say, I don't want good, true numbers that are provided for my home, whether, whether it is that maybe there is a bump as far as a tax goes, but at the same time, if your value of your home is properly assessed, you're able to have a good feel. Like Zillow may tell you your home's worth $700,000, but the market says that it's really $650,000, and you list it for what you think it will move at. That makes it the movement much easier. You're not going to feel let down with the actual closing costs and the pricing. So like I said, having true and accurate data is, I think, paramount in this entire process. So.
Definitely. Also, one quick note on the Zillow thing. It's funny that you mentioned that, just because if you're on Zillow, it says your house is $700,000. But if you get Zillow Plus or whatever they're trying to sell, it's 2.9% higher. That's weird. Does that change your house? So anyway,
Yeah.
it's something funny that we saw.
Yeah, I would, to everyone, I would encourage, if you do get calls from property owners, or if you're just talking to friends or anybody, we are happy to take phone calls. We take a lot of them. And we spend a lot of time talking to people on the phone, not just, answering a simple, quick question, but explaining anything that they want to understand about the process, because that makes it a lot easier for us when people understand what we do and why we do it.
Even if it is about taxes that aren't necessarily us, we're still going to kind of give as much as we can give and then refer to Danielle or whomever it happens to be. And we've referred to you enough, but we're still going to try to answer what we can. Permit questions, we'll answer what we can and then kick it to inspections.
Super.
So.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to speak real quick on that, on the fair and accurate assessments. It's important to know that from the financial side too, the more accurate and fair the assessments are, all taxing jurisdictions' budgets, they're going to budget what they need, and their levy is going to be what they need. So if the assessments are fair and accurate, then the entire budget for all the taxing jurisdictions is more fair and equitable in the tax rate. And you'll see a lower tax rate when all of that is accurate.
Alderwoman Eichmann.
I just wanted to thank you for how fast you get back to our residents. It's greatly appreciated. Since you started the partnership with the city, I've not once received an email or a phone call from a constituent saying, well, I left them a voicemail. They never got back to me, or I sent them an email. So, and the timeliness of how you do it, I don't know how you do it. It's usually the same business day, if not the next business day. So I just wanted to thank you and say it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I'll bring it home. And my personal experiences, I not only did the assessment go real quick, painless, but I sat in on countless meetings with citizens that you had, groups of citizens, singles, the farmer group that live in District 6 that are founding, it's like at least a half a dozen founding, family names up on that wall, that you explained why how this all worked and what was not done in the past. And I can't say enough good things about how you took the time, the patience to deal with all the citizens' complaints. And to echo the Alderwoman's thing is, in fact, I mistakenly gave your cell phone a couple times, where you handled it, then you told me nicely that that's not the company's cell phone. So, sir, who owns the company, maybe some cell phones for the workers. But you did. I mean, I have not ever had another person call me and say, I've called them 5 times. Never. So thank you for serving our citizens, because that relentless customer service attitude and follow-up is what gives all of us up here the confidence that we made the right decision. The citizens are confident. They may not be happy about some things. I mean, everybody had the land that went up but that was last year. Now we're good. So there's a lot of great things that we're building on that foundation. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, now there's a motion here to receive and place on file.
I'll make the motion to receive and place on file.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
G3, a resolution to issue Landmark Structures 1 LP a change order number 3 for elevated water storage tank contract B at 8120 South Lovers Lane Road, tax key number 8019986-000, in the amount of $19,963.31. Who's taking us tonight, gentlemen? Good evening and welcome.
Guess I am.
Yes, there we go.
This is, as you know, there were 3 contracts out there, contract A, B, C. A was completed. A and B were bid at the same time. Due to some DNR changes to contract A, things did not line up for contract B. So being that it was already bid and let, here we are today to get contract B finished. So we've worked on this for probably 10 months to get to where we are. So we need this to finish the project, and the Board of Water did approve this at their committee tonight.
Excellent. Comments, questions?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
First and a second. Now do we have to do a roll call on this? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G4, a resolution to authorize professional services contract with Ruckert and Milky, Inc. to provide SCADA programming and integration services for the new elevated water storage tank for a fee of $25,000. Mr. Beardsley.
So as part of the previous motion, change order taking Ruckert and Milky's work out of the Landmark contract, so that $25,000 deduction on the previous motion is being applied to this contract, where they will work solely for us doing the same work.
I'll make the motion to authorize.
Did you have a question? No. Okay, we have a first.
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. P5, a resolution to authorize professional services contract with Ruckert and Milky, Inc. to conduct a water system storage capacity analysis for a fee of $34,304.
So as we've investigated things and learned things in the past year, We've come to realize we should have a better grasp of where our water storage is, planning for the future, capital projects. We're looking to have Rooker and Milky study the pressure zone and give us some answers on what the future should look like for the city.
Mr. Beardsley, where is the money coming from to pay for this?
Out of my budget,
Well, it's the water fund.
yes,
I was
the
hoping-
water budget.
The water, okay. So it's not coming from anywhere else. It's already been planned. It's in your, I knew the answer. I wanted to follow
Yes.
the rest of the crowd.
And
Okay, good.
the Board of Water Commissioners did approve this as well tonight.
Thank you for that information. Is there a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the question.
Okay, so you have a first and a second?
I have a question.
Okay, we'll have further discussion. Hold on. We have a first and a second. Did you capture that?
Yeah.
Good. Alderwoman Eichman, then Alderman Salus.
Thank you. So once this work is done, I imagine you'll come back and meet with council to go over the results. I guess I was quite surprised to see the possibility of decommissioning the water tower on Drexel.
That has been a plan for some time already. It's actually in the capital budget, I think, for 2029. Not that that's going to happen in 2029. But just due to the size and the cost to rehabilitate it, being that it's all steel, it cost, I think, almost $1 million in 2012 to rehabilitate it. And just the value may not be there.
So as soon as, I knew at some point way down the road, but I just guess I didn't realize it'd be sooner than later that we're looking at decommissioning it.
I don't think we have that exact date yet, but most likely we would not rehabilitate it again. That at that time, we would take it out of commission and it would be gone.
And then we would also be exploring if then we need yet another water tower?
Correct, based on fire demand,
Right.
usage, and as the city is growing, and we know there's quite a few projects that the West Zone serves that we need to be prepared for.
Right, I thought that was the main purpose of building the one that we just built, was more for the western zone.
It is, but as it continues to grow southwest and somewhat north, and proper locations to serve for fire protection, for redundancy, we don't know until we dive into this.
Water towers are a lot of money. The water tower on Putes, is that constructed differently than the Drexel water tower? I mean, appearance-wise, it looks to be, but not.
It's the same, different size, of course, but same construction, all steel.
So at some point, we need to decommission that.
We will be rehabbing that in the next 6 to 7 years, so that'll be getting repainted.
So I guess I'm just trying to understand why we can rehab that and repaint it, but we can't the Drexel one because the Drexel one's older?
Mainly just size and value. I mean, most likely, if we do add another tower again, it would be another 1 million gallons. So just the size to cost to rehab it and the value of a new one, that will be less maintenance in the future, being that, like the one we built is a concrete pedestal that doesn't need the maintenance that the steel ones do. So hopefully this will help guide us in the right direction.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Salus.
Very much, one of the items I want to discuss is the decommissioning of this tower here. What is the life expectancy of a storage tank, a tower like this?
I mean, it could be 100 years. It was built in 1982. Was the planning there for the, it's based on how your city grows. I mean, some cities can get 100 years because it's relatively same size. They maybe not have the growth that Franklin has seen in the last 30 years and will see yet
Like, do you see a lapse in the planning process? Like, this tower, I'm very sure cost substantial amount of money when it was built. And like, looks like half of its life, and now we're talking about decommissioning that. And just like, I'm just like wanna make sure that whatever funds we investing in the new system, just like that, the planning is comprehensive enough that we would not be talking about decommissioning anything, down the road.
I would say not likely. I mean, the one on 76 and Putes Road, that one's not going anywhere. I mean, that is built for the size. It's going to be expensive to rehab it because it's all steel, but it wouldn't be cost per, wise to just spend to build something that big, and we'll know if we need more storage on that side as well. But I would not see that tank disappearing or even being part of the conversation.
So if this tower get decommissioned, how is it easy like to adjust the flow? Because right now, all the pipe system is coming to this tower here. So when that decommissioned, and are we gonna go through additional substantial expense to repipe, or that's not a thing to worry about?
To take this one out is
Once you took it out, because right now, all the piping, I'm assuming it's coming to this tower and distribute to the, throughout the city. So when this become decommissioned, so how do we deal with to take all these flow that the area being fed by this one, and now it's gonna be fed by the new tower?
Yeah, we have proper piping that's going to feed the new tower just fine with all the work that's been done with contract A, contract C.
So that is covered as.
So, yeah, there's going to be no, if that one went away tomorrow,
So there is.
we would be fine with what we have to the new tower.
And this fund, that the source of funding, is that what we call it, impact fee? Is that, or that's different?
This study is coming out of money that's in the budget for services.
But it's nothing to do with the impact.
No.
Could the impact fee utilize for that?
Danielle's shaking her head no. Angrily.
No, water impact fees do not support water studies like this. It's mainly water storage, water extensions. There's a short list of what you can use water impact fees
With the
for.
impact fee. Okay, I'm done with my questions. Thank you very much. I yield.
Anyone else? There's a motion here. Somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a first and a second. Did we have a first and second already? I lost with all those questions I got.
That's right.
I drifted off. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Well explained, thank you. G6, resolution to approve addendum number 4 in the amount of $25,800 to Foth Infrastructure and Environment LLC. Mr. Paulos, are you taking this?
Yes, sir.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. So this project was completed recently. This is the new sewer that was extended to the new, or to DPW. And DPW had a holding tank on the north side of the building. So the tank was removed. Sewer was brought to the building, the lateral to the building. As the tank itself was removed, there was possible contamination from tank being leaky into the soils, into the groundwater. So to do our due diligence, we need to do further testing in the groundwater and the soil, make sure that if it is contaminated, we do the proper removal, disposal of it. So that's what this is in front of you tonight is for that exact work. There is one typo I want to point out on the amount. The amount for Foth should be between $30,000 and $35,000 as shown on page 63. So that needs to be corrected on a council action sheet for consideration. Correct.
So, okay, Alderwoman Day, and then we'll switch that for the motion requested. We'll put the amount you're looking for.
Thank you. So I guess the only question that I have that's, I guess, pertinent to this is, I know
a good chunk of this or all of this is being funded through ARPA funds. Within this document, it talks about this additional testing could induce a 2 to 3 month lag on some of the work for the testing to come back. I just wanted to make sure that there's no problem with the encumbrance for the ARPA funds of prolonging the work. We're okay with it because we started the project, so prolonging it by 2 to 3 extra months isn't going to cause any problems with using that funding for this work.
No, so the funding has been obligated as of December 31st, 2024, but it doesn't have to be spent till December 31st of 26.
Okay.
So as long as
That was-
it's done by then.
Yeah, I just
Yep.
I didn't remember the end date for the encumbrance for the project. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's my only real question that's pertinent. Thank you.
So Mr. Sluse.
Just for trying to understand, so we spending $30,000 to $35,000 for the evaluation to see if we have contamination or we don't. And if we have contamination, there'll be additional expense to remediate the contamination.
Correct.
I see.
So what, if you look at this motion, what amount should we put in the bottom there then?
$30,000 to $35,000, shown on page 63, that matches the
Okay.
FOIA agreement addendum.
So the motion to adopt resolution number 2025 blank, a resolution to approve addendum number 4 in the amount of 30 to 35,000 to Foth Infrastructure and Environment LLC. That's the motion.
I'll make the motion.
And I would just say that we would provide a updated resolution as well.
Okay, so we have a first and a second by Alderwoman Day. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. G7, a resolution for authorization to We Energies for work order to install 2 street lights in the Cape Crossing Phase 3 subdivision. As our engineering director leaves. Pretty straightforward here. Yep. G7, it's about the 2 streetlights at Cape Crossing, Phase 3, if there's anything more to discuss.
It's part of the developer agreements, an allowance, nothing.
So it is part of the developer
Yeah.
agreement, they're not changing it, they didn't
No.
add streetlights to
No.
anything? Okay, good. Is there a motion on this?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Long one here, G8, a resolution conditionally approving a 2-lot certified survey map being a redivision of the certified survey map number 3990 in the southeast 1/4 and northeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 of Section 8, Town 5 North, Range 21 East, City of Franklin, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, Magna Living Trust property owner, Steve Rolfe, Midland Commercial Development Corporation applicant, 10001 West Church Street. Mr. Martinez, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. This is a minor land division request to create 2 new commercial lots at the Drexel and Lovers Lane. There's an existing gas station, so 1 lot would be for the gas station. And there is the other lot number 2, will be for a future grocery store. However, this is only for the land division to create the 2 lots. Staff review for compliance with the dimensional standards, and it's the proposed certified survey map complies with the UDO, and the Plan Commission recommended approval.
Say that last part of the Plan Commission.
The Plan Commission that recommended approval of this request.
Okay, when did this go in front of Plan with this grocery store? Does it?
Last meeting, yeah.
So we're all good on this? There was no,
Right, yeah. However, this is not to approve the grocery store. It's only to create the 2 lots.
okay, it's for the lot creation. Good.
Mhm.
Alderwoman Eichman?
Thank you, Mayor. That partially answered some of my questions. So although the grocer's name is mentioned in our packet, that for sure is not a done deal. This is simply, as you stated, to divide this land into 2 separate parcels in the case that this grocer may potentially move to Franklin. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done before we get to that step.
Correct. That will be a separate application.
And the owner of the Living Trust also owns that land where the gas station currently is as well then?
Well, currently it's under one ownership, and they're going to create the two lots. Still under one ownership, and the future ownership will depend.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'd be happy to make the motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
G9, a resolution authorizing the City of Franklin Fire Department to execute an agreement with Digitech Computer LLC for ambulance billing services. Chief and Assistant Chief, good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much. A brief synopsis. We had a situation where the billing company that we use for ambulance and emergency medical service billing, the revenues that come back from our patients is used to offset the cost of providing the paramedic level emergency medical service to the citizens. So it's we're not really making a profit from it. It's more considered reimbursement for our costs of providing the service to our citizens and our patients. We had worked for several years with a company called Andres Medical Billing. In early spring of last year, they were bought out by a very large company called EMS Management Consultants, who is a giant EMS billing firm. We had really no choice in the matter because the provider we were using got bought out. We actually are still operating under the contract from Andres Medical Billing, which allows us to exit the contract with 60 days notice. We had not signed a new contract with EMSMC because of our dissatisfaction with their customer service. And just to give a brief kind of review, we had given them a year to transition, kind of clean up their act. And in my analysis of it, has actually gotten worse over the last year and not better. Unfortunately, with their purchase of almost all the billing companies that were based out of the state of Wisconsin and other states, I think my analysis is that they've bitten off more than they can chew, and they're not able to keep up with the demand. So what we have seen is drastic increase in billing errors, extremely long processing times for the trips, a huge increase in citizen complaints. And I know I've received calls from several of you as alders and the mayor. I've had a really noticeable increase of people coming into my office in the fire station and saying, hey, your crews, your paramedics did a great job. I'm glad, they took good care of me. I just want to pay my bill. And why is it such a difficult process to pay the bill? So I'm going to let, I don't want to steal all of AC Antoine's thunder because she has been the nuts and bolts of the evaluation and the decision to change companies. But it is mainly, we're mainly very concerned with the customer service that's being provided or lack of customer service, because it's a direct reflection on not only the fire department, but the city as a whole. And wanted to thank Attorney Wazalowski for helping us to review the contract, get it turned around in a very quick manner. And I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Chief Antoine for her comments, and also a little bit of information on the new provider and why we're confident that they will do a much better job for us.
Yeah, so like Chief said, this has truly been like a part-time job working with the current billing company that we have. And I am very confident in Digitech and what they can provide us. Not only are they coming in at a lower rate of what we're currently paying for their services, but their software is in-house by them. It's not third-party. Their ways to manage data is astronomical. The heat maps that they'll be able to provide of where we're doing service in the community, from all the way down to like disintegrating the data to, you have a cardiac arrest, you have a clump in this area, what is the age, what is the sex of that person, everything. So it's really going to help us data-wise with this company, and that's what kind of drew us to them, along with their customer service. We've been already working with them for probably 3 to 4 months. Our main lead person got transitioned out, but this new guy, Scott Metcalf, has been great. He's been on point with getting us the proper documentation. He's been on point of bringing in our finance department and showing them the background of all the billing. And with their platform, we're able to fine tune when a customer comes in or a patient comes in for their bill to be able to look at everything real time. And there's also things that we'll be able to do as a whole for our community each day.
Excellent. Questions? Alderman Craig, then Alderwoman Day.
Thank you. I'm really glad you mentioned about being able to have much more of a analytics based as far as what we're going to be getting on. With that said, will that help as far, I know one of the things that we've talked about in the past and probably looking forward to in the future is a future firehouse within the city. Is that something that, driven off of that data, would help target where the next fire station would go? Or would that be really good data to have for just as a aside and being able to work out staffing and things like that?
It will definitely help aid, but our data will only start with them the day we submit and start our progress with them. So if we sign and we're starting with them November 1st, that's when our data is going to start. So it's going to take time to see that, but we will be able to make heat maps. We'll be able to see, where our rigs are going on a daily basis. You can even fine tune it down to what is your most frequently time frame that we're going out on calls for, and what day of the week and what month and so forth.
Would that also then translate to, as far as trend lines, where if a certain neighborhood starts to move out and we have younger families that don't need as much services, would we be able to see that and map that as well? Or would that be a little bit more sabermetric-y beyond what we'd be getting as far as raw data goes?
So you're looking at pinpointing.
As far as trend lines go, is that something where we're able to see like year over year dip in need or a spike as far as what would be required or the requests that would come to Franklin Fire in that regard?
The thing with Digitech themselves is that this is their own software program. So they told us out of the gate, if there's something that we want to see on our daily dashboard or there's reports we want to retrieve, they're more than willing to work with us to get that.
Oh, perfect.
So.
Great. Thank you.
Alderman Day.
Thank you. I love the data piece. I've come and asked you guys about data quite a bit over the last few years. So I love that you're going to be able to dive deeper into the data. But my main concern, and thank you both for working with the resident that I had that was impacted by the current billing company. The customer service piece is what I wanted to ask about. So given that Franklin tends to trend a little bit on the older side where they may be relying more on physically calling someone rather than going online to pay a bill or see what's going on, is it your opinion and what you're saying here tonight is that those residents that really want to call and physically talk to somebody about what they're seeing, they're going to have better access to that now with this company, that they can actually get a person that they can talk to when they call, as opposed to not having a person or getting the runaround previously, or not having anything come to them except a collection notice.
Thank you.
Sure, I can take that one. That was a big focus of our discussion with them. And along those lines, not only the patients that we have who maybe don't have email or who are not on the internet and who choose to mail checks or correspondence in or utilize phone, that was a big part of our questioning, because with EMS, that's a big part of the citizens that we serve, is the elderly population. And this company really seemed to speak our language. They noted a lot of the communities that they serve in Florida, where there are a lot of retirees. They had programs in place where the mailroom was very streamlined and very organized. They made it a point that a phone call would result in talking to a human being as opposed to getting lost in a phone tree. So they had some very specific examples of serving that population who maybe isn't going to pay online with a credit card or not going, not able to go on the internet. So they had some very good programs and very good references with their patient population.
And also within their dashboard, if someone would come in and we can't find the answer right away, there is a section in there where an email would be sent to our representative. So we'll have a core team only working on Franklin calls. That team has an hour to respond to our request.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, thank you. The customer service piece was just what stuck in my brain from, I know some of the situations that have been going on with y'all, so thank you.
yeah, we've really hit home on making sure that this next company is reflecting the city of Franklin and how we want to be reflected, so.
Alderman, would you like to make the motion?
Sure. Make the motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the Franklin Fire Department to execute the agreement with Digitech Computer LLC for ambulance billing services.
I'll second that.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. G10, request council approval for the fire department to accept a grant in amount of $1,554 from the We Energies Foundation for the purchase of gas leak detection meters.
I'll make the motion. to approve.
Good. First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Before we go to G11, so you're all set with your, for the next senior lunch to bring,
We were just talking about that today, actually.
Yep, so the next senior luncheon will be providing extinguisher training. So we had received a grant from Kelman Restoration to provide extinguishers that are like spray cans, essentially, like hairspray cans. They're very user-friendly, and they are geared towards the elderly and latchkey kids. So in order for us to provide one of these extinguishers, you have to go through the training, and we will provide one extinguisher per household. And through this, we will be providing heat maps of where these are located. This extinguisher itself has saved a home here in Franklin.
excellent.
So.
All right, thank you. Moving forward, G11. St. Martin's Fair apparel, come on up.
Oh, is she wearing one?
Yep.
There we go.
Fair Commission.
So come on up here to the front table.
Big table.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know, look at that.
So, if everybody's read it, it was agreed to by all fair commissioners at the last fair commission meeting, there be official St. Martin's Fair apparel for sale. One of the fair commissioners member makes and sells various items with screen print on them. The commissioner has offered to make T-shirts and can koozies this year and sell them on behalf of the city of Franklin. A portion of the sale would be given back to the Fair Commission. So before our city attorney jumps down your throat, what does a portion mean?
50% of
Get a little louder, right into the mic.
50%. So
State your name and business address
You
for
bet.
the record.
my name is Lori Damsel. I live at 7495 South 74th Street. My business is in Greendale, 5676 Broad Street.
That's fine.
This is a long story, but
Oh, no, please, no long stories.
I won't tell you about it. So these are the shirts we'd like to make. And we're going to charge we'd like to charge $20 per shirt. $10 will go towards the cost, and $10 will be donated back to the Fair Commission. Koozies will be $5, and we will donate $2.50 to the Fair Commission.
Where will they be sold at?
We have a booth at the St. Martin's Fair near the Bosch Farm, so we will sell them in our tent,
Okay,
and we will keep good records.
I'm sure. Plethora of questions. Director of Administration, then Alderman Eichman.
Will they be available for sale?
They can be. I can have them for sale in my brick and mortar. I can put them online on my website. We want to get the word out as much as we can.
Fantastic. Alderman Eichman?
If I've already purchased one.
Ooh.
Yes, you have.
Where's your light? How come your light's not on? There you go.
Thank you. As I was saying, am I on now?
Yes, you are, ma'am.
As I've already purchased one, the material that it's made out of, I just wanted to point out, it's that wicking material, which is really high and good quality, especially not always, but most fair weekends are sweltering hot.
Yes, so it's a,
Those really
yeah,
good
it's a blend. It's a cotton poly blend, or we can do the 100% polyester ones.
Is that the one I bought?
I think that's the one that you got. So that's definitely moisture wicking. People love them.
And who are you, young lady?
I'm Samantha. I'm her granddaughter.
Oh, it's your
Granddaughter.
Well, so what year did the St. Martin's Fair come to Franklin?
Do you know?
No.
How old is me? I'm 66, so 66 years ago.
So the answer is 1958. August of 1958. And the mayor's wall that's out there, on top of there is a whole bunch of old pictures. And the one that says St. Martin's Fair 1958, that's the first St. Martin's Fair that came when we, and I always say it like this, since we stole it from Hill's Corners, which we did. And that's the first one. So how busy that is up there and how wonderful it is, that was the very first St. Martin's Fair that came here, and it's a wonderful picture. So with that, we're going to go back to Alderwoman Eichman.
I just wanted to thank you, Lori, for your time and offering to do this.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Basically your cost, and
It
I know how
pretty
busy
much-
you are.
Yeah.
So I think
okay.
it's wonderful. It's a great idea, and to give back
Thank you.
to the deficit of the Fair Commission as a whole. It's
Because
gonna-
we know there is one, so.
Yes, you truly care as the resident, so thank you very much.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
So would you like to make the motion right away, Alderwoman?
I'd love to make the motion. I will make the motion to approve the sale of official St. Martin's Fair apparel by Wiki Wares and More LLC for the 2025 St. Martin's Fair, with a portion of the proceeds donated back to St. Martin's Fair.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you again very,
Thank
very
you
much.
very
It's
much.
hugely appreciated.
Thank you, absolutely. And one day I'll tell you about my story. It has to do with Roy Ryman, and he's a great man, so
He is.
I can't, you know.
G12, to transition into an ordinance to repeal Chapter 167, sex offenders, and recreate Chapter 167 entitled Sex Offender Residency Restrictions and Child Safety Zones of the Municipal Code of Franklin, Wisconsin. We're going to go, what's that? No. If you could turn on the mic for Mr. City Attorney, and then we can hear him. Sir, you've got the floor.
Well, as stated in the council action sheet, at the last meeting, the two questions were whether or not the Police and Fire Commission could serve as the appeal board and to obtain a map of 1,250 feet from staff. And the results of that are all set forth on the action sheet. And with regard to the maps and them being updated, the short version on that is a question arrived right after the last meeting as to whether one of the facilities still qualified. And I checked that all out and then questioned staff as to their thoughts and whether they lined up with mine on it. And then part of staff returning answers was provided with 3 additional parks. And I do not know why through the last number of years those were not included in the maps, but those parks were added. And so I asked IT to update the maps. So what that did was changed the number of available living units in regard to availability. So if there's any, with regard and in response to, as set forth in the action sheet, the Police and Fire Commission not serving as an appeal board, thought was, okay, council can handle it, and I thought about that, and I thought it's better as a separate appeal board instead of having hearings at common council meetings, et cetera. And so I did confer with the mayor, and proposed 3 council member appeal board appointments by the mayor. And so that was a change in there. And then the motion does state all the things that have been discussed with regard to the bracketed provisions, et cetera. And what has to, the remaining item would be council decision on the distance, and that all pertains to the available living units. And you do have had the cases with regard to, it's primarily the Hoffman versus Pleasant Prairie case. One of the unconstitutional concerns with regard to banishment occurring was when there was less than 10% of available land available within the municipality pursuant to that ordinance. And so that is a substantial concern. And with these 3 extra parks and the maps going down, I did the calculations and I did present them on the various distances at the last meetings. And those obviously have gone down. And I did cite in the action sheet the first 2, and then for 1,250 feet and 1,000 feet in the action sheet. And then I did provide distribution of the 750 feet and the 500 feet maps yesterday when they were made available from staff. And 1,250 feet, the number of available living units, the percentage thereof over all of the living units in the municipality would be 19%. If the 1,000 feet standard was used, it would be 27%. If the 750 feet standard was used, it would be 37%. And if the 500 feet standard was used, it would be 49%. And I did provide those calculations with the distribution of these maps. And the recommendation thereon is the more available living units, and using these calculations, the maximum available would still be about a 0.32%, less than 50% of the living units, but that's at 500 feet. So the recommendation would be more available living units in terms of availability under the municipal ordinance, the less likely to be confronted with claims of unconstitutionality. At the last meeting, I recommended no more than 1,000 feet at that meeting. At that time, before the map was changed, that equaled 46%. And that was, do not go any more distance than that. If anything, go less. No. And now that's 27%.
Are you pausing? Good. So, first question, in case anybody want to know, how to determine what alders we put on this committee.
Not me.
So, it goes by seniority, so yes, Alderman Salusi would be on it. I would actually put out a I would ask people if they wish to serve on that committee first before we go into any way, but that's the start of it, how that would work. Don't expect to see much, I mean, we haven't had any issues prior, don't know where it's gonna go forward, other than, well, one, that's not even part of this. So that's that first part of this discussion. This is a big, big decision by this council. This is a monster decision. And I urge you, I implore you to think of friends, families, yourself that live in our community, risk, and upon council's direction, I'm not going to go more because I was given my parameters on how emotionally charged I shouldn't be on this issue. But for now, I'll yield to Alderman Craig, then Alderwoman Day.
Thank you. At the last meeting, Mr. City Attorney, you mentioned that one of the phrases I took away was affordable housing was one of the things. What is the delineation on what is and is not affordable?
We did not do that,
Okay.
or the staff did not do that. Available,
So we're only
living
going off of
units.
available units, not
Correct.
affordability.
Correct.
Okay, great. My other item is, as we grow and other entities decide to put down roots, and maybe I asked this not as eloquently last time, but as, for example, the Academy of Performing Arts wants to put another studio within Franklin. And then that will create a buffer zone, regardless of the distance, that will exclude units. Now, granted, if someone has already established a residency, that they are grandfathered in. But then, as we have more and more items, Forte Theater moves a new facility. Countrydale, the school board has already talked about their future of Countrydale, that it's not sustainable, and they're gonna have to relocate that school. As other entities that fall under the rubric of what will create those sorts of barriers, are we gonna have to revisit this in the future? Or are we gonna tell schools that they're kind of stuck, that no other arts can put up a studio within the city boundaries, that we're done with parks because those sorts of things create more boundaries? And are we gonna then have to come back to this in the future and say, well, as more and more items are put in on, that get put down in the city, that is gonna create fewer and fewer opportunities for sex offenders to find a home, and thus we have to go from 1,000 feet to 500 feet to 250 feet to 50 feet? I am worried about either A, being labeled as being unconstitutional and with a banishment, or B, that we are going to tell businesses and schools and park development that that's not going to happen here because we have to cater to a quote, as I was lectured, a quote unquote marginalized community that I am more than happy to say decisions have consequences. And that's where if we do something today that changes where we are, that is one thing. But then what does the future hold in terms of what our development looks like, what amenities we provide for our residents, and what does that look like as far as providing that percentage of livable units for people that would be classified in that?
it is what it is. See what happens. One step at a time. Things change over time. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where the new development might be. It might be in existing developed zones, et cetera. So you see what happens. And laws change over time. same thing. Just on a, what do you think in the future? I do not see a governing body or municipality advising developers, do not do this, do not come to this municipality with new development because of a sex offender residency restriction ordinance, and you deal with that over time. And yes, if a person under the ordinance is already residing there, and then there's a new facility, that does not affect that person. So I don't see that as a substantial issue of concern right out of the gate.
Thank you. Alderman Day, then Alderman Eichman.
Thank you. So again, where I struggle with this the most is that we're talking about these really abstract hypothetical situations that have not actually presented themselves to us in Franklin. Yes, there's a smattering of them in different states and within our state, but they're few and far between. And to the mayor's point, at all of these meetings, in his time on this council and his time knowing, behind the scenes law enforcement, it hasn't really been an issue. So I'm not sure that this is all much ado about absolutely nothing and that we might not have to change anything. But with that being said, I can understand from reading all of the documents more than once that there is something to be said, even though I agree wholeheartedly with Alderman Craig that decisions have consequences, that the 2,000 feet may put us in a predicament should someone choose to push that button. However, I'm going to argue the flip side of what Alderman Craig was saying is that if we make this too lax, I would argue that there's residents, people, businesses, whatever, that will not want to come to Franklin. Not can they come to Franklin, they're not going to want to come to Franklin because every 501 feet, they could stumble across someone. So what daycare, what family is going to want to move here when they know in less than 2 football fields, they could run into somebody that they don't want in their neighborhood. So to me, that is just a non-starter for current residents, for current businesses, and for future businesses that come in. And also, I want to know what the magic percentage is here. So, I mean, it varies from community to community. So you could, the distance, 2,000 feet in Franklin, 1,000 feet in Franklin, and the percentage of available housing stock for that is going to vary wildly from community to community based on how they're set up. Franklin is more spread out. So it's going to look different with all of the parks and green spaces that we have versus concrete jungles like West Allis and Greenfield when you have the same amount of space. So when we were comparing apples to apples, it was like apples to kumquats because the two cities aren't the same with how they're densely populated. So using the metric of the distance, I don't think is a fair comparison when you look municipality to municipality because they're not the same. It doesn't look the same. So, and I'm not going to ask the city attorney or anybody to go back and be like, okay, well, if it's 1,000 feet in Oak Creek, what does that look like for their housing stock versus in Franklin, it's 27%. I'm not going to ask you to go back and do that, but I'm just saying to think about that because those percentages are not going to be the same from city to city. I would argue that what it looks like here, the 1250, putting it at 19%, that is considerably a lot more than we had before, and that seemed to be, if we want to use the magical distance, the average of all the communities we had to compare to. I might be comfortable at there, but I'll tell you, I'm not comfortable going any less than that. And then my last point is, as far as the board, I think that's probably the best that we're going to do if we truly do have to have one, which, again, I'm kind of on the fence if we do or if we don't. But I would say that in the wording that's in the current draft that's in here right now, on page 163, I think we just have to tune that up a little bit. The Sex Offender Registry Appeal Board shall consist of and then there's nothing there, then it says members shall be appointed by the mayor. Member, so it should, shall consist of, 3 alders or, oh no, there
It
it is.
says that.
There it is. I see, the strike through, I missed that. My bad.
That was
So that's fine.
computer style strike through.
Yeah, got it, yes. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm okay with that if we truly do have to have one as that third level check. I think that's the most fair, and that there'll always be people assigned to it if it were to come to that point. I don't know how often it would happen. But I guess I'll step off my soapbox for now, but gosh, I don't love this, but it is what it is.
Alderwoman Eichmann, then Madam Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo what the Alderwoman said. I don't care for this, of course, at all either. I go back and forth, and I think also, not that I'm going to quote his exact wording, but the police chief mentioned something in our last meeting as to the ones that we know about are the ones we know about, but the offenders out there that haven't been caught yet, that could be living anywhere, it's very scary, worrisome as well. I guess my question to Jesse is, how often can this be revisited and revised? Is needed?
Whenever the
Is there a
council
limit?
wants.
So at any time?
Whenever the council wishes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll yield for now. Thank you.
So to Madam Director of Administration.
Thank you. I know that this is uncomfortable for everybody. I'm sure most parents are cringing at this item, but I do want to provide a reminder. The other thing that the chief of police had said was that currently our ordinance is unenforceable. We have had a lawsuit where it costs the city $25,000, I believe, is approximate. I don't know when that was, but I do know that that had occurred because it is unconstitutional and it is unenforceable. So I just wanted to remind everybody that at least the change in ordinance allows our PD to enforce the ordinance. So that's all I wanted to say, is just a reminder that it is an issue. And it has been an issue, and we don't want to have it continue to be an issue.
Thank you. So is the consensus that we're looking at the 1250 per feet?
We have to pick.
Well, we do have to pick, so it's a reality. Tough decisions, heavy lies ahead with the crown. So I see this motion here. So, Mr. City Attorney, the insert blank feet, other than that, this is the adoptable motion?
Yes.
So 1250 would be pretty much the maximum that we can go with?
I stated earlier, more available living units, and so council's been advised in the premises.
Okay, so with the insertion of the 1,250 feet, would someone like to make the motion?
I'm looking at the map for 1250. I am comfortable making that motion that we as a city can live with this for right now.
And I'll second it, so we have something that's enforceable.
Right, excellent points. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Alderwoman Eichmann?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderwoman Day?
Aye.
Alderman Salus?
Aye.
Alderman Craig?
No.
4 ayes, 1 no, 1 absent, motion carries. G13. City of Franklin versus Accurate Appraisal LLC, Milwaukee County Circuit Court Case Number 25-CB1134. The Common Council may enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985, sub 1 sub G, to confer with legal counsel for the common council, who is rendering advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to subject litigation, and to enter open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as deems appropriate. Is there a motion to go into?
I'll make the motion to go into closed.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, Mr. Craig. Mr. City Attorney.
Just again, with regard to the earlier this year, Oitzinger versus City of Marinette case with regard to closed sessions, council is aware of what the subject matter is. It's stated in the council item as read by the mayor. If there's any questions or concerns as to whether or not there is not a need to go into closed session or discussion or anything, the council may discuss, and I just mentioned that on the record because of that case.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We have, all those in favor going to closed?
Aye.
We've done it in past, it doesn't say. So we've got, it's unanimous. Anybody opposed? No. Ayes have it, motion carries. We're gonna get one. Teamwork. Let me know when we're live. We're live. It's 8:39 PM. We are back in open session. The motion will be to proceed with retaining Landretti and Company LLC out of Middleton, Wisconsin as a professional consultant.
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion.
We have a first. Is there a second? First and a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Moving at a rapid pace into letter H, licensing. Who's taking licensing tonight? It's short and sweet. Alderwoman Eichman.
That's me, perfect. So the License Committee met this evening, and we had 5 operators that were all new. They were all recommended for approval. Then we had 2 daycare applicants that were also approved. And then a temporary entertainment and amusement event for the health department for trunk or treat, which was also approved.
Excellent. So everything approved. Is there a second?
A second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. This final one, I is an item, vouchers and payroll approval. 3 points and a roll call. Point 1, city vouchers with an ending date of August 14th, 2025, in the amount of $2,039,599.65. Point 2, payroll dated August 8th, 2025, in the amount of $461,937.12, and payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $255,532.18, plus city matching payments. And Point 3, estimated payroll dated August 22nd, 2025, in the amount of $496,000, and payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $557,000, plus city matching payments.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Alderman Craig?
Aye.
Alderman Salus?
Aye.
Alderwoman Day?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderwoman Ekman?
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
First and a second, all